When talking about the Golden State Warriors, we think of success, we think of the Dynasty, we think of beautiful basketball, and most importantly, we think of winning. However, that wasn't the case this year for the Golden State Warriors. After getting eliminated by the Lakers, the offseason for the Warriors officially begins. Now, many would say the dynasty is over, but we have arguably the best point guard in NBA history, Steph Curry. There are always things you can do to remain as a title contender, and when it comes to making a team better, teams mostly revolve around free agency, trade, and draft. The Warriors have a very tight cap room with the top-heavy contract they're giving out, and because they made it decently far in the playoffs, they don't have a top pick that can land them a player that can contribute right away. So this shifts our focus onto the trade market. In today's video, I'll be going over 3 trades that will address the biggest needs for the Golden State Warriors without giving out too much future draft capitals while maintaining the current cap hits. So without further ado, let's roll the intro.
Hi. I'm on my match in the dark. 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 I'm on my match.
Yo, what's up guys, Jason's here back with another video. I'm officially done with my spring semester and I'm finally back to bring you guys more NBA content. We have a lot of news and rumors coming up, so make sure to turn on the notification bell and you will not miss any of my future uploads. Alright, so without further ado, let's get right into it. Right off the bat, I want to talk about one of the dark horse trades that's in my mind for a while, and that's Giannis. There were rumors a few years ago about Giannis going to the Warriors, and I want to bring that up once again. Like I mentioned before, Steph Curry never really played with this kind of big man in the league, so I can't imagine how dominant that is going to be. Now, you could argue that the Bucks will not let Giannis go, but to be honest, Milwaukee is somewhat stagnant these past few years, especially getting eliminated this year by the Heat in the first round of the playoffs. As long as the Warriors present a decent amount of assets, I believe a trade can take place. The Warriors will package Draymond Green, Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, and 2 first-round picks in exchange for Giannis and Grayson Allen. 2 first-round picks sound like a lot, but for Giannis' caliber, that is what it's going to take. In this case, the Warriors will be able to dump Jordan Poole's overpaid contract and send out agent veteran Draymond Green. I think after this year's playoffs, we're all pretty disappointed on these 2 players. This means the Golden State Warriors will now have a starting lineup of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, and Kevon Looney. Now, not only does this solve the lack of size, it also adds way more distraction on offense, meaning Steph, Klay, and Wiggins will get a lot more open shots under Giannis' presence. On the other hand, Grayson Allen can be a great backup for Steph Curry. This past season, the Warriors really lacked on defense. The addition of Grayson Allen, who is known for his defense, will bring one more layer on the defensive side. And what really made this trade fascinating to me is the pick and roll between Steph and Giannis. I don't know how any team can actually stop this, no matter if it's stopping Giannis' dominance in the paint or stopping Steph's elite shooting from anywhere on the court. Plus, this trade will save the Warriors about $7.7 million in cap, in which they can use to add more depth on the bench. And for the Bucks, they get 2 instant day 1 starting Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. Additionally, Jonathan Kuminga to me feels like the raw version of Giannis, and that additional 2 first-round picks they get will help them to fund the vote of Giannis. Although this trade seems unlikely to happen, I'm sure you guys already saw how Giannis reacted on his live when a fan mentioned Giannis, the Warriors, and he began smiling. It's hard to interpret what that truly means, but it's safe to assume that a trade is definitely on the table. Alright, moving on, let's talk about the second trade, which is with the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Warriors will receive Rudy Gobert and 2 second-round picks, and the Wolves will receive Jordan Poole and Kevon Looney. Right off the bat, this trade makes perfect sense for both parties. The Wolves need a guard next to Anthony Edwards after the departure of D'Angelo Russell, and the Warriors need an actual big man that can rebound and protect the paint. Starting with the Warriors side, these past few years, the Warriors try to use their fast-paced offense in transition to offset the lack of size in the paint, but this season, when the defense gets worse and the offense becomes inconsistent, the entire team falls apart. Especially when the opposing team is leading, the Warriors can't just use their 3-point shot to come back. In terms of Jordan Poole, his massive extension is about to kick in, and yet he averaged 10.5 points, 2.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists per game, while shooting a poor 27.8% behind the arc. As the Warriors fan myself, I dislike Paul from every single aspect. You can argue he showed spark last season. He isn't the type of player I want on this Warriors roster. Too many turnovers, too flashy, and too inconsistent with horrible defensive attributes and willingness to commit defensively. Also, keep this in mind, Jordan Poole is the sixth man for this Warriors team. We have a Hall of Fame backcourt duo in Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. Jordan Poole seems a bit extra, and I don't think it makes sense to pay him that much money, considering you're already paying Steph and Klay about $100 million every season. Now, some might say that Rudy Gobert and Draymond Green will make the Warriors offense stuck, but that's not completely true. Let's just say Draymond Green takes the player option and plays for the Warriors next season. Him and Kevon Looney play perfectly fine together. So, for a guy like Rudy Gobert who will set high quality screens and protect rebounds in the paint at a level the Warriors never had before, it all makes perfect sense. Most importantly, when you have Steph, Klay, and Wiggins, it spreads the floor by a big margin. And when the team isn't doing so well from behind the arc, the Warriors now have a power force inside the paint that can score when needed. As the Warriors fan myself, while Kevon Looney is definitely critical for this Warriors team, he is very limited, and his 6'9" size often means he can't really stop the bigger guys in the league. If this trade were to take place, the Warriors would have to also sign a backup center for cheap. An ideal choice is someone that has some level of threat behind the arc. And for the T-Wolves, trading for Gobert last year did not pan out at all. A team simply can't be paying two big men that much money. It just doesn't work in today's NBA, so flipping Gobert for Jordan Poole makes perfect sense. And here's the crazy stats. This season, when playing with Steph Curry, Jordan Poole averaged about 16.6 points. But without Steph Curry, that number goes up to 26.1. So I think it's safe to say that if you make Poole the man, he will give you a solid 25 per night. Now, we also have to consider the fact that T-Wolves' current starting point guard is the aging Mike Conley. The Wolves want to go young, and Poole will be the perfect option at the 1. The thing for this trade is that both teams knows the opposing team doesn't want the player they have. The Wolves know that the Warriors want to move on from Jordan Poole, and the Warriors know the Wolves don't want to deal with Rudy Gobert anymore. So since both players have a similar cap hit, this trade makes perfect sense. Last but not least, I have one more trade with the Los Angeles Clippers. The Warriors receive Paul George and Bones Highland, and the Clippers receive Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody, 1 first-round pick, and 1 second-round pick. After this year's disappointing ending, I think it's a wake-up call for the Golden State Warriors. When we have Steph Curry, you need to win in the present. Now, it's safe to say that Paul George might not be on the trade market, but in the NBA, anything could happen. And plus, after this few years of try and error with Kawhi Leonard and not making that much progress, the Clippers might be open to make some small changes. As the Warriors fan myself, I can say that both Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins are not injury-prone players and can give you a 70-plus game every season. Plus, they both are fairly young. This is a risk for the Warriors, but the reward is the championship. The combo of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Paul George might be one of the most dominant and complete trio in the league. Fierce firepower, great defense, and with Draymond's playmaking and additional defensive support, this might become the best starting lineup in the league. We all saw how dominant that Kevin Durant Warriors era was, and I don't see why the Warriors can't pull this off again. And I really hope the Warriors don't stick to their organic approach to develop their team. We all saw what happened to James Wiseman, and so far Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody didn't become change makers either. As a fan myself, I would rather see the front office go all in and have the best chance to win the championship when Steph is still playing at a high level, instead of going conservatively every year until Steph wears out. On the other hand, the Warriors are getting an amazing backup point guard in Bones Highland, who played great with both the Nuggets and the Clippers. And plus, Highland still has 2 years left on that rookie contract, and for a team like the Golden State Warriors who has very tight cap room, this is huge. And for the Clippers, they're getting 2 day 1 starting in Poole and Wiggins, who don't have massive cap hits. For the Clippers, they're getting 2 day 1 starting in Poole and Wiggins, who don't have massive cap hits. Andrew Wiggins is a complete player on both ends, and for Jordan Poole, although he has defensive issues, the Clippers have some of the best defenders in the league, meaning Poole's lack of defensive presence will be helped out, and a threat behind the arc should be magnified under the superstar presence of Kawhi Leonard. And along with this, the Clippers also getting a first and a second round pick. Just like the Warriors, the Clippers have very tight cap space, and these draft capitals are extremely important for them to stay young and acquire talented players under a low cap hit. Alright guys, that's all we got for today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Which one of this trade is your favorite? And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on social media with all the links in the description box down below. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.